Come on.
Come on, boys, huh? Today it's not good enough just to say we want it, huh? Everyone wants to win here, huh? We got to show it. We got to earn it. Not one single game in this league is easy. Here we come here with another team in our face. Let's get 3 points, win this game, go back to Dallas. Let's go. FCD on 3. 1, 2, 3.
FCD, 1, 2, 3. Let's go, Paul. Captain Paul Areola there. Good stuff leading the team. And welcome everybody to another edition of Afterburn Soccer. It's been a couple weeks because of just technical issues, but we're back. We're ready to talk about FC Dallas, North Texas Soccer Club, Major League Soccer, and anything else y'all want to talk about. We got some juicy stuff to touch base with tonight. So be sure to share, be sure to comment, be sure to say hello. We'll include you in the show. And of course, I'm Nathan Hill. You can follow me at Nathan J. Hill on Twitter. There also with us today is our buddy Tommy LeBoeuf at Tom_FC Dallas. The man himself, Jose Carmona at El Chico Carmona down below. And also everybody? Ishmael Belcora at Belcora Ishmael. We got some good stuff to get into. Let's start with the most important thing, which is this weekend FC Dallas got a road win and its first clean sheet of the season. Long overdue. 1-0 victory. It was a little bit gutsy, a little bit gritty, but also really when you look at the numbers and you look at just how this game played out, FC Dallas maybe was unlucky not to get a second goal, but at the very least they were far more in control of this game than watching it kind of felt like at times, just because that 1-0 lead is just so nervy for this team historically. And they survived too. First of all, the go-ahead goal by Jesus Ferreira was not the prettiest goal in the world. It was just a poacher's thing, but you just take it. You just take it. And then a last-minute penalty call on a non-foul in the box that luckily VAR came back in and made the right call and corrected it, so that the 1-0 result has gone in FC Dallas' favor. Big 3 points on the road. So let's just get our reactions to the match. Reactions to the performance that you've seen, and how you're feeling on this day after a good 3 points for FC Dallas. Jose, we'll start with you.
I'm feeling great. It's my opinion that the good teams, when they lose 3 points at home, need to go on the road and get those 3 points back. And I'm feeling better now. Getting those 3 points against Miami, making up for that. Dropping those 3 points against Minnesota. I mean, it ain't ideal. I'd rather that you not drop points at home. But like I said, it's my opinion that if you drop if you drop points at home, you need to regain those on the road, especially in MLS. So I'm very happy with the way the team played. Honestly, we're fortunate not to win by more than a 1-0 score, as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. Other than the last second drama there from Miami, I thought Scott mostly had it under control.
Yeah. Ishmael, your reaction?
It was a stressful game because of that second half, right? And I think that, again, with the amount of chances that we had in the first 30 minutes, you'd hope that we'd lead into halftime with at least a 2-0 result. I feel like the team at its peak last year would, and we saw that in multiple instances, like the game against Orlando and stuff like that. Those kinds of games, I think that this team still has a way to go. It's very encouraging that they were able to keep the clean sheet, because it was genuinely concerning that in the first 6 games before this that we could not keep teams off the board. Whether that be because of defensive, singular errors, or just defensive shape didn't work, or whatever it may be. So getting that clean sheet was super important. It was great to see VAR call something for us for a change.
True.
Hopefully that continues. That would be great. It was a great thing to see Jimenez and Ferreira team up like that. It's still a little rocky, and I think that's clear, but to have those kinds of options is something that I think this team missed last year, and that's one of the reasons why we didn't go further in the playoffs last year, because we just didn't have too many options to change the team shape in game, and now we have one more. which is always a
Yeah,
plus.
definitely. Tommy, your reactions?
Yeah, well, first of all, I watched the highlights. I haven't been able to watch the whole game in its fullest, but I can say that Giovanni Jesus seems to be like a player that speed. I haven't seen anyone on the team get space like he got in the first few minutes of the game to get that assist. All right, not on the left side. We haven't seen Velasco get that space. Right, he's always losing the ball. Now he's been great at shooting, but we don't have people creating space like we did with Giovanni Jesus on that pass. And just credit to the FC Dallas philosophy of getting the attackers in the box. He had a lot of touches on the ball there. Jesus hit it to the other guy and came back to him and he scored. I think prior to that, they left the goal in the field. You remember the shot that Jesus had first few minutes of the game where he tapped the ball to the right and he shot it, but he had two guys unmarked. It would have been better to pass it over. I watched Germany play. They always get the open guy the shot, right? They never take the bad shot. It's not a bad shot that he took, but I felt it was not his best choice. When you have players open, you got to get them open.
Sure.
I think what that means though is that we have the players in place on the attacking side. We really don't have any complaints other than that they're still a young team. And I think the new guy that we just signed has got to learn to work with Jesus. But we already seeing more space for Jesus, which is going to be more goals and more goals for the other striker as well. I think the only missing piece in this team now is the center back. I think that we still need a bona fide center back. But I'm really excited about this team. What I'm seeing right now, I see a lot of space on the attacking side, and I think that's a positive.
Well, there was a great Twitter thread by an Inter Miami reporter. I linked to it on the Afterburn.soccer website that Jose shared as well, that kind of highlighted why that space was that really Inter Miami played into FC Dallas's hands. And FC Dallas, it was either a Nico masterclass of tactical adjustment, but also, or just taking advantage of a team that was going to go out and try to push for the win, and all the space that they left out behind, because you just saw in that first half just chance after chance, and even a few times in the second half, though FC Dallas looked definitely just that they wanted to bottle this thing up, especially once Jesus went off with what we understand is a precautionary kind of situation, just like Paxton went off a couple weeks back. So hopefully he's back and healthy and everything like that. But yeah, good stuff. Well, let's jump over to here, Nico. I asked him after the game, I asked FC Dallas head coach Nico Estevez, just about, this is the second game. He got a yellow card. I misspoke. I said it was the second game in a row, but there was actually a home game in between, and he did not get a yellow. And I just said, hey, is that, you seem like a really nice guy, to talk to. Is this you just trying to get more from the refs, get some respect, And he just laughed, but you'll hear his response. And as he talks also about protecting guys like Velasco.
Yeah, it's not the second straight. It was against LFC. We had a game in between. I'm getting better. No, the thing is, sometimes when it's something that is that is a rule, that is this is what pissed me off a little bit, because you just need to apply the rule. The rule say this, just do it. And when you don't do that, what it comes to me is like, or he doesn't know it, or something is wrong. And this is what I was telling Marco, that he's a fantastic fourth official, and he was hanging with me there and calming me. But this is why, and I don't think it was for me. I think it was someone in the staff, and because they were telling me now, and then he showed to me. But I think it was someone in the staff. But I'll get it, and then I'll have to be a little bit more calm on the bench. But I was fighting with my guys, and I was trying to protect them, and that's it. Because, one tendency, and I ask some players when they go to Europe, one of the difference, from MLS, and here the defenders use a lot their hands to defend. And when you go to Europe, you cannot do that because they're calling fouls to you. And then this is one of the things that they use too much the hands, that, in the rule said you cannot defend even with the hands. And this is what I was complaining, and more for Alan, because I wanted to protect him, because has been consecutively like games where they are not calling him clear fouls, when the opponent is just, when he goes inside, they just use their hands to push him and stabilize him. and destabilize him. And I just wanted to show that we need to protect players like him, because something is going on with him that they don't call fouls that are very obvious.
So Nico, so it may that yellow card it may not have been for Nico, is what he said. Maybe for a staff person. I didn't go back and check yet to see if that was later on added to the official game record or anything. But you brought up Alan Velasco, Tommy, losing the ball and stuff, and I think Nico has a point there. I do think Alan is kind of becoming the sort of shades of Mauro Diaz, the guy on the field for teams that just to hack, just to slam, and sometimes it's called and sometimes it's not called, and so I appreciate Nico, getting into the ref's ear and trying to change the sort of tendency or the urge for refs maybe to overlook some of those little fouls.
I wanted to add something to that. Velasco, he's not a burner, and he's matched up against a guy like Yedlin, who is a burner. And so Velasco isn't going to create space by outrunning anybody. He creates space by his dribbling, his fancy footwork and stuff, and you can tell he's still trying to figure it out, especially since teams tend to, Miami didn't have to, but most teams you see either double team him or put their fastest guy on him, or just playing the hell out of him. So he's a smallish guy, so I don't think all he can do is get stronger, and maybe that'll improve over time. But the kind of space that we were seeing from Giovanni Jesus, that's brings back Brian Reynolds type memories.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a smart start, by the way, against a team like Miami, who likes to send, like Lucci used to do, send both the left back and the right back into the attack without keeping one back. It was smart to start Giovanni Jesus to take advantage of that. But I'm even though he's looked good, I'm not sure he's not Tomasi. I think going forward, we're going to see Nico basically prioritize the matchup, and that'll determine who starts at right back. And in this case, the fact that both of Miami's backs pushed forward, you wanted some speed out there. You wanted to be able to take advantage of that, and it paid off.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't mean to knock. I wasn't really knocking Velasco. I know he is still young, and he's not a Castillo type of player. But I'm just saying is that we don't have that burning on the left side, right?
It's Farfan is a defensive guy.
If you remember last year, Nico used to move Velasco to the middle, and he was very effective as a dribbler and an assist person. I still think the best is yet to come. I'm really not knocking him. I'm just saying he's not a speed player.
No, I don't think he ever has. I think teams are hacking him more now this year than they did last year.
Right.
And the best is yet to come. I'm excited for what he's going to become.
Yeah, they're identifying that he can make those moves that he can do some things with his feet and with the ball that it can be a real problem for teams. So they're just trying to throw him to the ground.
Yeah, watching him and Paxton getting hacked.
Although Paxton, let's be honest, has been doing some hacking of his own. This kid.
I'm watching the game as you're speaking. He just got a yellow card for the high.
He's finding his
he's more
Frisco
combative.
dog.
He's more combative, but
which is what the team needs from him, because you're not getting that from Quinone necessarily. And in fact, when Quinone has done that, it's been disastrous sometimes. So Paxton needs to go out there, and especially in a 4-4-2, you've got to have one central mid that's going to be sort of the ball winning, the destroyer, out there trying to create those opportunities when the ball stopped the play. So Paxton did his job, but it's been fun to see that kind of that side of his game emerge a bit.
You meant to say that Quinone and Serial, neither of them are doing that.
Well, yeah, sure. Neither of them are necessarily that's their game either, right? Well, Ishmael, I want to hear from you about, we've seen a couple of games now with it was Giovan Jesus starting, and Tomasi came back in as a sub on this one, and which I thought was a good sub just to bring his energy and presence to hold out the result. But are you wavering in your Tomasi support? Do you still think that, or do you think this is just a game by game decision that the coaches are going to have to make week in and week out?
I mean, I think it's mainly game by game, mainly because I think it's actually the Surreal Faku comparison is actually one that I think works really well here. Not given the players like styles or ages or situations or whatever it may be, but um, Surreal and Faku, like Surreal was really good at the start of the year, and then the last couple of games has, in my opinion, been a little wonky in how he plays, and Faku has been given more and more opportunity. And a goal isn't enough for Faku to deserve the starting role as center defensive mid, but it's something that like is increasing his credibility as being a starter, and I think that's what um, Nico has wanted in these types of positions. So now having Giovan be able to do something very Brian Reynolds esque in that goal is something that probably makes Nico very happy. It's not something Tomasi can do and hasn't been able to do successfully. But there were multiple instances in this game where like Giovan's ability to defend was a little suspect. It's not terrible. It's not
Right,
bad at all.
right. No, I agree. I agree.
It's not Brian Reynolds level of poor defending when Brian Reynolds first started playing games, but it's something there, and I think in this league, it it takes a DP level right back or a DP level wing back, just to be a little bit more general, for a defender for to get a player that is both good offensively and defensively, like like a Reggie Cannon type. I don't think we're gonna get that anytime soon, and so both players are extremely serviceable in what they can do, and so when a game requires Giovan, you play Giovan. When a game requires Tomasi, you play the King. That's the decision making that you do game to game.
All
And I
right.
want to add that they're both young, so I still expect Tomas and Giovanni to improve. To what extent, only time will tell. But I think it's good that they're going to be pushing each other.
I agree, and I think uh, competition's good. It's what coaches want for these guys, and to show they push each other to be as best as they can be, as good as they can be. Well, so a great weekend. A tough one for Inter Miami fans who I know who are struggling with this result, but. We'll get to some other major league chit chat here in a minute, but of course we turn our attention to North Texas. Did not pull down any video or anything from the match, but North Texas had their opener at Choctaw Stadium and welcomed Vancouver Whitecaps too, and just got smoked. 4-1 loss. The only goal came from Costa from his first goal of the year, but overall just a lot of disappointment from head coach Javier Cano. Just not after two solid games of solid enough defensive performances to battle for straight wins on the road, two straight wins, which is something to be excited about. To give up 4 goals in your first opening match, it just wasn't good enough for the team, and kind of a disappointment. Also, the first start for Webster in a new goalkeeper in goal with them. Not thinking it's the brightest start for him either, but hey. This is part of being a pro soccer player, right? Jose, what were your reactions to that result?
Well, North Texas has been playing a 4-3-3 and sometimes a 4-4-2. So it's kind of interesting to see them roll out a 3-4-3 formation that I haven't seen them use before. And they played like they never used it before. I mean, in theory, it looked like it should work. You got your three best center backs out there because Norris was out there along with uh, Henry and the kid that came that they used to play for Solar. His name. But the two starting center backs for the first two matches started, and they brought in Norris to the third. And in theory, it looked good. It looked like it should work, but my goodness, it collapsed quickly. And myself, as a fan, I was saying in private chat that I was disappointed that the team decided to try uh, new tactics and new formation against Vancouver, who's a solid team. I mean, I don't know if you guys have read my top 10, but I had them listed 5 because they are a rock solid team. They're gonna, they're not gonna beat themselves. They're gonna catch you on the counter, but at the same time, it's just a reminder that it is a reserve league, and you're gonna try new formations, new tactics.
Yeah.
This is the level you do it at.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they made some mistakes and they got punished quickly and they were recovered and move on and hopefully hopefully they get those. They did play like a team, but never before used that formation. so,
Yeah.
so that was
Yeah.
amusing. We'll see what they try next time. I hate to see, just like FC Dallas, I hate to see North Texas drop points at home in that fashion too. I mean, it was, my goodness, it was
Yeah,
work.
yeah. The way that they played, it just like I'm gonna be honest, it wasn't like awful. I think that if you look at the game itself, I think both teams, like Vancouver, had more shots and were better on the attacking front, but both teams were somewhat even in how they played. Like you could tell that there wasn't a massive difference in skill level, but it really was just mistake after mistake, especially in those like first 20 minutes, where it
Yes.
was just very confusing. And I think the worry is like yes, it's a new formation, but the defensive mistakes that led to those first 3 goals, it's just poor marking, like very poor marking. One off a cross, one off a corner kick. I'm gonna have a third one was, but like those kind of mistakes, again, individual mistakes. It seems that's what's killing both teams recently, like leading to the goals that they concede, and it's just those are the things that like indicate are you still in preseason form because you're too deep into your maybe not with North Texas, but like you're getting to the point where this is a season. You are in the regular season. These kinds of mistakes happening this consistently is not acceptable for these players.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to add my frustration with rolling out the new formation is the MLS Next Pro. It's an uneven league. There's maybe like your top 12 teams that are really good, and then there's just a big drop off after that, where teams. I mean, my frustration is North Texas could have ground this out against any other team. Real Salt Lake. I mean, uh, there's quite a few bad teams out there. Portland's bad. Uh, there's you could, but Vancouver wasn't one of those teams. Vancouver is a top 10 squad, top 12 squad, and they were not going to beat themselves. And they're the kind of team that can punish you for those kind of mistakes. So that was my frustration with the matches. We tried new formation, new tactics. That there were going to be mistakes. There are teams you can roll that out against. That you're going to be able to see not get obliterated like they did against Vancouver. Like I said, there's some teams that will play really young squads that you won't get punished. But at the same time, I mean, if that's the game plan, is to you're going to roll it out against one of the better teams, and maybe that makes you better. I mean, that could be
Yeah.
it. I myself, as a fan, I'm disappointed with it, but I understand. Hopefully, the team will be improved off of this.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the hope. The young squad, and Cano said after the game that he felt like they had the best lineup. They had their best players out on the
It
field,
was
but
a strong
obviously,
lineup, except for
yeah.
the goalkeeper, who's our technically our third
Hmm.
goalkeeper. You know,
Yeah.
behind Kura, behind Eystone. So, and honestly, he played like a third keeper. I'm sorry
Right.
to say that.
Well, they have a quick turnaround. They play again, I think, on Wednesday of this week. Have a quick turnaround,
Austin.
so yeah, they're going to have to get on the bus and kind of put that behind them and get back to their road form to kind of build from there. So we'll be getting some content from them. And also, by the way, I had a sit-down interview over Zoom with a young player on the team in his second year with North Texas. He hasn't featured many His name is Alex Arenada, and he's actually a local Southern California kid who jumped from the California United Strikers over to North Texas, and it was fun to chat with him. So I'll have a feature on Afterburn Soccer with him.
He's a really big midfielder,
Right.
and one of the
Oh,
reasons we
dude.
didn't see him feature is because they've been transitioning him to center back,
Right.
and now and that's a good thing in that he's got the body and the build for it. But the bad thing is that he's probably the fourth best center back at best on North Texas once you include Norris and Corica and Henry. So as long as Norris or Corica get sent down to play with North Texas, Araneda is basically a sub. He's the starter. Neither of those guys show up. Are
Yeah.
sent down.
Yeah,
Like
I
said,
think
he's got potential.
yeah, it's definitely been a learning experience for him. So look for that. You'll find it interesting. Jose, it was a good conversation with him. And yeah, and he primarily played growing up playing midfielder, and now they're working on him with the center back, and he feels comfortable there. But it's clear there's a lot of competition for him to sort of. And
I remember the first time he subbed in for North Texas, I was like, "Who's that big guy in the middle?" You could not miss him.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
big body, not big lanky. He was a big body kid.
Well, some other shout outs here. Let me see if I can make sure I have the right thing. First of
Can
all,
I
yeah.
just say,
Oh, sure.
I was just gonna say one last thing. Austin FC2, really solid team. North Texas is gonna have to, play like they played the first two games and not the third game. Uh, the guy, their danger guy, is David Rodriguez. You all remember him. He's a starter for them. He's on loan from the IMX. And that's the guy you got to watch out for. A friendly face for a team that's won all their games at home. So it should be a tough matchup.
Okay, good stuff. Well, we do want to give a celebration to Inter Miami. For El Matador had a great traveling contingent for that match, and were allowed to bring instruments into the match, and got a shout out from Inter Miami supporters for their presence throughout the game. It was good stuff. So we just celebrate that kind of stuff. That makes soccer better. And finally, the more important thing is just to really get to the wonders of Major League Soccer, the wildness. We saw the craziest, one of the most bizarre and stupid red cards I've ever seen in Major League Soccer when LA Galaxy player tapped the ref on the shoulder while he was doing a VAR check. I mean, what do you think was going to happen, dude? I just don't. And then Austin FC, they're in their doldrums now. I guess they're not the great exciting thing that's happening. We got Sporting Kansas City.
Over?
I mean, gosh. Yeah, I guess
Honeymoon's over. I mean,
the honeymoon is
great.
over.
It's great when you're an expansion team and you get the sort of support, and you got all this gam and tan that you're using, and if you do it right, you come out and have a good first year, 2 years, and then you can become like Orlando, and suddenly all your fans that are filling up the stadium are not showing up. Now, Austin, I don't think Austin's going to have that problem because their stadium, for a team that for their fans are always crapping on FC Dallas's attendance, like their stadium only holds like 1,000 more people. So by expansion standards, it's a pretty crappy stadium. Just for any Austin FC fans that might listen to this, that's the honest truth. By expansion standards, it's not a good stadium, and we'll see if the demoralized fans show up or they abandon ship.
I mean, it's just this is what is wonderful about Major League Soccer is that because it's not a promotion relegation league, like the margins are pretty thin from being a last place team to competing near the top. It just takes a few moves. It takes some guys getting healthy, takes some trades in the league, and all of a sudden you're competing again. And the other team that maybe won last year, it kind of stood pat and didn't make any moves. Like they start to get dragged down a little bit. It's just the strangest league for that. I mean, you just can't assume anything. Of course, LAFC is looking like they're in control. They just demolished Austin. But even Sporting Kansas City was looking really good at the tail end of last year, and boy, they have been trash. And I know there's been injuries and stuff. LA Galaxy are just lost. I don't know what that team is going to do.
I'm glad you
And
brought
meanwhile,
that up.
Houston Dynamo are fun to watch, which hasn't been. It's been a few years.
Better.
Hey, FC Dallas.
La la la. Anyway, I was gonna say, funny that you bring up
Yeah.
Galaxy and Sporting Kansas City, two teams that basically, I believe they both extended their head coaches, even though they didn't have great seasons. I mean, they were basically, from an outsider point of view, if you don't watch the league, you're basically rewarding mediocrity, really. And now you're seeing the results of that. You're seeing these teams. Look at LAG. Their fans have been outraged with the team moves, and the team has sort of ignored them. And now the product on the field, I mean, it's making the
Yeah.
fans seem like they knew what they were talking about. So yeah, it's like you said.
Yeah.
You
Let's
can't
go on the
reward
record
mediocrity.
here.
You can't sit on your laurels just because a coach did wonderful things 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
That's a long, long time ago in MLS years, because this league is constantly adding new rules, race, and just some outrageous, some good. Uh, you know, this league evolves, and if you stay pat, you get left behind. Simple as that.
So we're talking about Kansas City, Galaxy, FC Dallas. FC Dallas is still on the up and up. I want to say that's my opinion. I think that we have a good coach. I think that the roster with the new signings that we just added, we're almost there. We're competitive. Like any day we can play with anyone. And
Uh,
while but wait, is that I think we're still going up. I don't think that we've leveled off or anything like that. I think that if we get another center back, that'll just make the difference. And the more this team plays together, the better they're going to be. We all got to remember that Miami is not the best team. It's all relative. But Paxton, Pereira, Velasco, Areola, the keeper, the new guys that we signed, we have competition in more than one spot, right? I'd like to see a better, holding mid, but I think we're on that path. Go ahead, Jose.
I just wanted to expand on what Tommy was saying and say, look, I think us as FCD fans, we thought that the team did not do enough in the offseason. Let's be honest, we were all complaining about the lack of moves. So when you only make a handful of moves, 2, 3, 4 moves tops, you got to get those moves right. And taking a look at the game against Miami, who was involved in that scoring play? It was Giovanni Jesus Jimenez, two of the guys, two of the big names they brought in. I wouldn't say big names, but guys that were brought in to make a difference, made a difference. And then, of course, once the team went to 3 in the back, here comes Ibeaga to help solidify, to help shut down Miami. And also, I believe Chupa was also brought into it, I believe.
Yeah.
There you go. Those are your additions you brought in that you expected to give you minutes. And they were all involved in one form or another in securing that point on the road. It's just a sign that, like I said, if you're like FC Dallas, you're only going to make a couple of moves. You need to get those moves right. We've all been complaining about, putting on the fence on Ibeaga,
Sure.
but Jimenez looks like a steal. And,
Yeah, I agree.
And Giovanni Jesus also looks like a steal.
Yes.
So, you got two guys who we feel are playing better than we expected them to play. And then you got Ibeaga, who's honestly playing where we thought he'd be, but he's sometimes good, sometimes bad. That's honestly what we thought he was, and played in the right at the right time, the right formations. That can also be a good thing. So um, hope they continue to perform for Nico.
And the other thing I was going to say real quick is that Ferreira, I think Ferreira is playing better than he did last year. I see him just missing the post on a curve shot. I see him hit the post. Now, yes, we want the goals to go in, but he's making the right decisions, even though earlier in the show I said he should have passed. He's playing better. I think that he's going to get more space this year. I would not be surprised he scores more goals than he did last year.
And Jimenez, I think, gives him that freedom that we've been saying.
Yeah,
Hey,
be
wouldn't it
fun
be
to
nice
see.
to have Jesus playing as behind
He
another?
scored a lot of goals last year, but he didn't have the space. Even though he scored a lot of goals, it was,
Well,
you know,
that's because Jesus was asked to do the dirty work and then
yeah,
score. And now that
yeah.
we're going to start Jimenez. Jimenez can do all the dirty work, all the heavy lifting, and it frees Jesus to roam
Nobody
and,
was
and
taking the
rampage.
attention from the defense except Pereira. So now
So,
I think it leaves him an opportunity.
Well, all right. Well, look, here's the question we're going to close out the pod with for this day. And, of course, we want everyone to follow us on afterburn.soccer, subscribe for free, and, we'll be sending out the podcast episodes and everything. We'll get this one out tomorrow. But each of you, who was the first head coach out of those that we just talked about to go? Is it Vanny at LA? Now, my only reasoning he probably not is because I think Vanny was brought in for a long-term transformation of Los Angeles Galaxy, like what he did with Toronto, kind of building them up. But the question is, are they going to have enough? He's already been there, a couple of years, and is he going to have enough time? Are they making any progress in that regard? I think Austin fans are already calling for Josh Wolf to change to be, which seems premature, but I'll drink those tears.
You know who's gonna go first, or at least should be going first? Gerard Struber from New York Red Bulls.
Well, good.
He should be going. Did y'all see his statement? They just released their statements.
Yes, yeah. Not a very good statement. This is after, there was a whole other piece of Major League Soccer this weekend of a racist slur from a Red Bulls player used in that game. 20-minute stoppage time as they try to figure out what to do. Wild one. And really, kudos to Luchi Gonzalez, Jeremy Ebobasi for just saying what needed to be said. But yes, pretty lame non-apology from
yeah, but I think if that happens, the Red Bulls manager is replaced, that'll be like league driven, not results driven. That'll be the league based. Hey, we can't have this. But as far as performance wise, I think it's the Galaxy. At the end of the day, I think the Galaxy have higher expectations than Sporting Kansas City or some of these other teams. And LA Galaxy is not a club that sees itself at the bottom of the league. It's a team that sees itself as a contender, or a team that should be competing for playoffs and titles. And I don't think it's acceptable. And if they linger there, I don't really care what Rainey does. It's gonna be hard to retain him because of, like I said, LAG. They have higher standards than Sporting Kansas, and they're not doing that.
It's not going to be SKC or LA Galaxy, in my opinion, mainly because those two coaches have systems behind them that are basically forcing them to stay. Like, there's no way that they're leaving. If we're talking performance-based, I think the coach that is most likely to leave is probably Losada at Montreal, because we know how toxic Montreal is, and they're at the same amount of points. They're at 3 points. They have a win and a negative 13 goal differential. And we're 7 games into this.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It's going to be Montreal. Yeah, like Losada was already like a toxic coach at DC. So every reason they're just like, bye.
You got 3 goals and you've given up 16. Come on.
Yeah,
we need to pick people off the street to do better than that, right?
And meanwhile, Montreal's former coach is
we can't forget Neville. We're already starting to heal Neville out. from the Miami fans. He had a lot of goodwill from what he did at the end of last season. But the longer this losing streak goes, the that could gain momentum and he can get removed.
Kansas
Especially
City
for
has a
a
lot to
team
do with the
who's trying to bring in Messi.
injuries. Right, there's a lot of injuries. So I mean,
yes, but at the same time, it's at the end of the day, it's Miami. We're talking about signing Messi and all this stuff, and it's like I said, at the end of the day, it's loss after loss after loss, and they're an expansion team, like they're not that far removed from an expansion team, so they're not used to this kind of downfall.
Well, all right. I don't know
Let's
either.
come out to the wire, guys. It's gonna be close. We'll watch.
Yeah, we'll watch, but we'll see. It'll probably be a couple more weeks, I think, before one of these coaches and.
So who do we all call? I called Vaney. Ishmael, who you picked Montreal. Tommy, who did you pick?
Montreal as well.
Montreal, and then Nathan.
I think Vermes.
Yeah,
I think
I'm just looking.
Vermes. Oh wow.
I think
There you
Vermes.
go.
I think the guy's gonna lose that locker room at some point. So.
I'm going to change my pick to Neville, by the way, only because even though I think Vaney should be fired, I think Vaney is being protected by the guy above him, who needs to be fired first before Vaney gets fired. So it has to be a double beheading over there. So I'll go with Neville.
All right. Well, good stuff. Let's leave it there. Of course, get some good soccer to look forward to. FC Dallas will welcome Real Salt Lake home this weekend, so that'll be a good match. Of course, North Texas on Wednesday evening. Just a lot of soccer to look forward to and enjoy. A lot of interesting things to see, especially what unfolds from this Red Bulls and San Jose situation, what the league hands down as far as penalties and things. It's going to be. And by the way, this other thing I didn't even get into, like The Athletic. I enjoy reading some of their articles, but then they have this article come out that says Jordan Morris should be the new number 9 for the United States men's national team. And I'm just like, can we stop it? Can we? I appreciate Jordan Morris. He's having a great season so far. Good for him.
That's a great article for the trolls. Just troll the European, the Euro.
Gosh.
Isn't he a winger?
Well, he originally was a number 9, and he's doing some good things there. But it's just, I don't know. It's just content, I guess. We got to fill.
It's Ricardo Pepe.
All right.
Ricardo Pepe.
Yeah. All right. Good night, everybody. Thanks, Tommy. Thanks, Jose. Thanks, Ishmael.
Ricardo Pepe.